You better get up off of that thing. Try to release that pressure. Get up off of that thing. And shake your
You're thinking about Eddie Murphy, aren't you?
No, I was just. I was thinking that he's got to be the original musical artist that made sound effects lyrics.
Right?
and repeating a phrase over and over again, the hook of the song. Get up off of that thing.
You cannot listen to this music without getting up
Oh,
or like
man.
wiggling in your chair. Or like,
Oh,
I'm
we are-
dancing
we
in
are-
my chair.
We are both wiggling.
Yeah, I wouldn't call what I'm doing dancing. Nope. It's more like wiggling. I don't dance. I'm more of a girl in the band kind of girl.
Well, no, but you can make other people dance. That's another power.
Well, yes.
That's a superpower.
That's okay. So, you work in a school environment now, and I'm going to be sexist here. I'm just going to put it out there because
do it.
I'm a woman. You work in a school environment where, let's be honest, most teachers are women.
Yes.
Is gossip a problem on your campus?
Oh, man, it's tough. Okay, so students are one thing, and absolutely students want to tell you about other students, and then they want to tell you about other teachers.
Well, that's appropriate for, believe it or not, that's age appropriate. It's obnoxious, but it's age appropriate for a middle school kid.
And the longer you work in middle school, the more you become like your students.
Oh, it's true. You know what? I'm married to a middle school student. I mean, teacher.
Sorry, Tobin. But no, it is. It's really tough. And I catch myself wanting to talk about. It starts innocently enough. You want to talk about, teaching practices and cool things that you saw in other people's classrooms, and you're walking through the hallway and you're like, hey, that was an awesome lesson or part of a lesson that you saw. And then it turns into like, yeah, but you know that so-and-so doesn't do that. And yeah. And
Did you hear what she said?
Oh, and then it's a black hole. And it's tough because there are some people that will tell new teachers, never go eat your lunch in the teacher's lounge because it's just a cesspool of gossip. And yes, it can be. But you're in that cesspool. So if you want it to be a cesspool, you can either feed the compost pile or you can try to inject healthiness into it.
Right.
And one thing I always have said to my students is if they work here, if they go here, don't talk bad about them here. Like what you talk about at home, I can't prevent. But here at the school, we'll always try to be positive about everything that anybody else says. And I never, ever say anything bad about another teacher in front of a student. When you're asked professionally to evaluate a practice of another teacher, that's something that's acceptable.
Different.
Exactly. But it's so tempting just to start up the talk, and it's innocent enough. Hey, a student told me that you did this, blah blah blah, and then well, I didn't really do this. And then all of a sudden, I'm valuing the word of a student, and I'm speaking hypothetically.
Sure.
Of a student over that of an adult, and then those things get spun out of control, and that becomes a conversation for 25 minutes at a lunch period. And then everybody wants to talk about it. Then it bleeds over into Facebook, and then it bleeds onto everything else.
And soon enough, it's infected the entire work environment and school environment. And so, yeah, I have to say that I've consulted with companies and told them if you've got a gossiper, fire them. Because that is a cancer in your midst. Certainly call them out on their stuff, and if it can't be fixed, then you need to fire them. I don't care how good they are at their job. If they're sowing discontent in your workspace, other people will not be productive because when there's this toxic environment where people are talking about each other. You don't ever feel comfortable enough to let your guard down.
Yeah, once you have food and once you have a place to live, the next thing that you want to feel in your life is safety and an environment that you feel safe to express your opinions.
Exactly.
And I mean, that's Maslow for those teachers out there, but hierarchy of needs. But that's exactly what this is. What we're talking about is
I've worked in environments where people would gossip about. Now I've been working in the nonprofit world for almost 20 years. So they would talk about board members. They'd talk about leadership. They'd talk about donors. It's like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
So Inc. magazine has a list of how you can nip gossip in the bud. And number one, you start with yourself.
Yeah, you can't avoid who's looking you in the mirror.
Right.
You can't. You have to stop what you're doing to feed the problem if you are inadvertently feeding the problem in any way.
Exactly. Positive intent isn't just for others. It starts with you and the way you listen. Now, if you hear gossip and you're close to somebody, so, say that, and this is just me, not Inc. magazine, this is me. If somebody's saying stuff about your best friend, then you need to go to your best friend and say, okay, this is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
You don't go to anybody else. You don't talk to anybody else. You go to that best friend and you say, this is what's being said, so that they're aware. Unless it's just nasty stuff like so-and-so's fat. Okay, well, whatever. And if you have a problem with someone, I mean, this goes back to the Bible. If you've got a problem with someone, you go to that person.
Yeah.
You don't go to 5 other people. You go to that person and talk to them about it. All right. Number 2, you involve everyone. Everybody in an organization should learn positive intent techniques and concepts, and leaders who set the tone for an organization should get additional training, including one-on-one coaching if needed. And all that means is, whether it's this positive intent technique, quote unquote, or it's just, being nice. I think it has to be practiced from the top down. If you've got somebody who's divisive at the top, and look at the president's management style, how many people have come and gone from his White House. If you've got somebody who's divisive at the top, it's going to permeate the organization.
Yeah, and little things. I mean, just saying hello to everybody in the morning and meaning it, having meaningful eye contact with the other person, shaking someone's hand. All of these things should be automatic human nature, but they build that culture of respect and all of those things with everybody that you work with.
So your last principal, Akinlana Osendwike, from Frisbee, he seemed, from my perspective, and certainly from my husband's, to create this really positive collegial feel on campus.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, he was very visible. He wasn't the principal to stay in his office all day. He would go out and talk to the kids and talk to the teachers, and, is that accurate?
Yeah, and I mean, just 2 simple things. He could walk anywhere at any time and be anywhere, and no one was nervous to be around him. And as an administrator, that's a very fine line. You want to have respect, but you don't want people to walk, you to walk into a room and every single student and the teacher to go, ooh.
Everybody stiffens.
Yeah, go, keeps here, go. You don't want that to happen, but he walked that line very well. Everybody wanted to be around him, wanted to open up, wanted to talk to him, because he was respectful of any idea that came in to his office or into his sphere. And then the other thing he did that was super, super dumb, but I is just amazing to me. Every Friday, the dude walked around and shook our hands and said, "Have a good weekend." And it's like, it took an hour out of his day to whip through the entire campus, and he just did it. But it was just that, that's what I was trying to get at before, is the small little things that build a culture.
Exactly.
And that's, and donuts on Friday. I have a sweet tooth. Donuts are my kryptonite. But, yes, absolutely. And his idea was, if you have an idea and can show me research to back it up, I'll support you. Like, I'd rather you dive headfirst and burn up in flames and say it's not for me, than to say you can't do it because I don't agree with it.
Right.
So that kind of environment that was fostered by him was it was very nurturing, and it made you feel like you could take risks.
So did you find that you were more forgiving and accepting of things that your colleagues did, and more supportive of things that your colleagues did because of the culture set by Mr. O?
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's what this is getting to. It's everyone has to be involved, and the person at the top does set the tone. And, maybe it was his background as a pastor, who knows? But it was just that overwhelming accepted nature and supportive nature. And there was plenty of debate on our campus when he was there, and he fostered some of that debate. But it was healthy, because it was, who are you quoting? What evidence do you have?
Right.
Let's talk about the idea and not the person.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So the other one, this one, and I've gotten caught up in this one. Number 2 is involve everyone, and you've just addressed that. Number 3 is practice. This is something this is not a one and done, and you address that every Friday he would shake everybody's hand.
Yeah.
It becomes a habit. Number 4, skip the email. And I have gotten caught up in this one where I misunderstand, or I misunderstand someone, or they misunderstand me because of the email. Because emails can be read. So somebody writes it and they're thinking one thing and they're in one mood, and somebody else reads it and they're thinking they're in a different mood, in a different place, and they may not see what you've written. All
of the connotation, all of the intonation,
it's gone.
And you can't. It's so difficult, because if you're in that place and you read the email, then you just want to your fingers itch,
right?
And you want to fly onto that keyboard and
exactly. And I've done that. And it's not like when you're 12, you can use a bazillion emojis to get your mood across, but you really can't do that in a business environment without looking like an idiot.
If your emojis turn into an essay about someone's feeling. Delete it.
So yeah. So if there's something that may be confusing or difficult to deal with or whatever, pick up the phone.
Yeah, or just walk. Well, in my case, I can walk over to the person's room.
Yeah. Distributed team, so that's a little tougher.
Yeah,
because we're all in different locations. But pick up the phone.
Person to person.
Person to person. Number 5 is listen harder.
The author says, he quotes his dear Italian mother, "You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen more than you can speak." She's
right. That Italian mother is right.
She might have been my 2nd grade teacher. Every day.
So number 6 is fight fire with kindness. And I have found it's disarming. If somebody comes at you and says, "You did whatever," and there's a couple ways you can react. You can go back at them just as hard, or you could say, think about what they've just told you. And if it's fair, say something along the lines of, "Oh, wow, I totally understand why you see it that way. That's not what I meant. I'm sorry."
Yeah, and when I was in sales every day, there's a technique that we learned called feel, felt, found.
Oh yes.
And if someone comes at you and says a negative and says, "No, I felt the exact same way," and you know what I found out? I found out that when I felt that way, I needed to delete the email, to step away from the computer, to take a deep breath, and to talk to that person face to face.
Yes.
And now I know that it's a lot better. I found out that it's a lot better. I feel that way. I felt that way, and now. This is what
I've learned.
Exactly. And that little motion, that logic flow helps breathe life into a conversation that is turning into like 2 heads butting.
Because the reality is that people just want to be understood, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you move on the assumption, now there are some people who like to sow discontent. I'm not talking about them, but your average person just wants to do their job without any conflict, wants to work well in a team, wants to accomplish what they've been hired to do. If you come from that space and assume that your colleagues have come from that space too, then you'll have a much better time at work.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's building bridges to commonalities and not trying to create walls to divide you from other people.
Right.
And that face-to-face communication, that being able to listen, that stepping away from an electronic device or media platform, and putting into practice the kindness that creates the environment. I mean, that's what it is, right?
Yep. So with that, it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Brian Hain.
And we are on the brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
NBC News Radio, I'm Sharon Reed. He is being called an icon of publishing. Hugh Hefner, the founder of Playboy magazine, has died. Hefner died of natural causes at the Playboy Mansion near Beverly Hills yesterday. He first published the men's magazine Playboy in 1953. More recently, he was seen in the E-series Girls Next Door. Hugh Hefner was 91. House Speaker Paul Ryan says the new Republican tax reform package will liberate Americans from a broken tax system.
This is vital to America's future, and it is urgent.
Ryan says the tax plan overhaul will lead to more jobs and bigger paychecks. But the top Democrat in the Senate, Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, calls the Republican tax plan a giveaway to the wealthy. People in Puerto Rico are getting frustrated as the nearly 3.5 million Americans there are still waiting for help to arrive. There is still no power on the territory that was devastated by Hurricane Maria, and fuel and water is in very short supply. Sharon Reed, NBC News Radio.
It's time for your KCAA AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3 traffic report. I'm Erin Brinker. In Corona, on the 91 westbound before the 15, a wreck is blocking the carpool lane. Also in Corona, on the 91 westbound at Green River Road, an accident has been cleared. There's some stop-and-go traffic from La Sierra Avenue, and it stays busy ahead out to the 241. In the Cajon Pass on the 15 southbound before the 215, an accident has the left lane blocked. In Murrieta on the 15 southbound between the 215 and the 79 South Temecula Parkway. There's some stop-and-go traffic. In Temecula on the 15 southbound at the 79 Winchester Road, a crash is on the right shoulder. The SIG alert has been canceled in Corona on the 91 eastbound at Green River. This had been closed due to crews battling the fire, but the right lane has been reopened. In Riverside on the 91 westbound at Tyler, an accident has been cleared. And in Corona, an accident has been cleared on the 91 westbound at 6th Street. In both cases, watch out for some residual slowing. This has been your traffic from KCAA. We are the stations that leave no listener behind. I'm Erin Brinker.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Joel Hillsman. For this morning, sunny with a high near 95, calm wind out of the northwest at 5 miles per hour during the afternoon hours. Tonight, clear with a low around 66. Into Friday, sunny with a high near 96, light and variable wind out of the west at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Friday night, mostly clear with a low around 65. Today, sunny with a high near 95. Tonight, clear with a low around 66. That's your weather forecast for this hour from KCAA 1050 AM. 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM, 3-in-1, the trifecta of talk in Southern California.
Hi everybody, Ray Lucia here with some important information about debt, your debt. Whether you have a first or second mortgage, you're looking to buy or refi a home or rental property, or just need to consolidate your credit cards to lower your payments and save some serious interest, you need to do some loan financial planning with Steve Alladort, my mortgage man at loanfinancialplanner.com. Now, Steve's not your garden variety mortgage broker. He actually spends time evaluating how you can use the current super competitive interest rates to pay off your mortgage early. Purchase a rental property, improve your cash flow, upgrade to your dream home, or even help your kids or grandkids get into a house. That's what loan financial planning is all about. Steve's been helping me and my listeners for over 2 decades, and I can tell you he is the best finance guy in the business. Go to loanfinancialplanner.com. That's loanfinancialplanner.com.
Or call Steve Alladort at 888-563-1070. That's 888-563-1070.
For several days, you've been craving a juicy, tender steak. So it's time to satisfy that craving at Tony's Spunky Steer Restaurant. Tony's is located in the Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands. At Tony's, you'll have top-notch service and feast on some of the best-tasting prime sizzler steaks in the Inland Empire. The Tri-City Center is located just off I-10 between Alabama and the Tennessee exits in Redlands. Make Tony's Spunky Steer your dining destination for that special occasion, or if you just want a great steak.
The Colton Cement Plant is closed and the rail yard is expanding. Find out what's happening next in the Colton City News. Get more local news, local features, and a great calendar section full of local events for your family. The Colton City News, in print and online at coltoncitynews.com.
This is KCAA.
So I'm really enjoying this music. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Brian Hain, and this is the Morning Funk Power.
Really is, man. I found this great channel called Feeling Good on Spotify. If you're not, do you use Spotify?
Oh, I Spotify.
I absolutely love Spotify, and it's like they put together these playlists that are full of this incredible music, and this is one of them. So yeah, this is Sam and Dave. Hold on, I'm coming. For those of you born after the 1960s, which would include me too, and you too,
and me. Hey, I was born in the Carter administration. So, yeah, I know the very last year, but you know what happens.
1979, 1980?
Yes, 79.
79, that's awesome. That's right, because the election was in 80, and then Reagan, of course, in January 20th, 1981, took office.
Yeah, I'm clinging to the 70s, I guess. I don't know.
You were born in the disco era.
Oh, I love that music, too. As a drummer, oh, my gosh. Just give me a pocket and let me sit back down into it and settle in.
So you and the bassist are like best friends.
Oh, the eye contact and the looks and the nods and oh, yeah. Let's get there. Let my right foot just match with your two fingers. Let it happen.
See, I am not a big fan of funk. I should say that. I mean, it's okay. That I like disco and I like maybe old time funk to listen to it, but it's not. It doesn't come natural to me. So let me put some context. I sang in bands for a long time, and I did not deliver funk well because it's just I don't feel it, and it's the kind of music that you have to feel. Now, I could tap my toes, and I certainly like this '60s R&B, but it's not something that is in me, and so I didn't perform it well.
Yeah, if you can't naturally stank face, the funk might not be with you.
Right. Exactly. Well, and again, when you're fronting a band, you have to deliver. You gotta. The people have to believe it. You gotta feel it. It's gotta be there. And for me, I'm thinking, it's just not. I'm trying to be something I'm not.
You can't fake the funk.
No, you can't fake the funk. In the late '70s, I was listening to punk.
Hey, you can't fake the punk either. That's another kind of. It's a very similar attitude, but a different. Place.
Exactly.
Different place.
I like the Dead Kennedys and the Sex Pistols and the Ramones and those bands.
My three chords.
Exactly. But they rocked those three chords.
Oh, they did.
Well, it's like, but AC/DC, which of course came a little later, not much later, but a little later, they basically had one song. If you listen to their music, they basically had one song.
Are you calling them the Nickelback of the early rock era?
I am.
Oh.
Now, it was a hooky song. They changed it up a little bit, but, it was a hooky song, but they basically made $1 million or how many millions of dollars on one song.
Hey, when you have a formula and it's working.
Yeah, apparently. Well, that's country music today.
Wow.
Now we're talking about music. The country music today is so interchangeable. Like, I don't even recognize one song to another anymore.
And the twang all sounds the same. I don't listen to country music people. I'm lying. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
So I like country music, but I listen to older country music. Occasionally, I'll find something that's really fun and hooky that I listen to that's modern, but I'm just not feeling it. It's just the same song. As a matter of fact, there was a guy, and I'll find it. There was a guy who like overlaid a bunch of country songs.
Oh, I saw that video.
And they were all the same.
And he was just like DJ fading them back and forth,
yes.
and you couldn't tell the difference.
Couldn't tell the difference.
Just sounded like a collaboration.
That is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that's why when the Dixie Chicks came on the scene, it was like something so fresh because number one, they knew how to play their instruments. There's a crazy idea. And they were doing music that really, I know they didn't write the music at first. They only did on their last album, but their home album or the one after that. Anyway, the one after that. But they're doing music that was different from everything else that was happening in country music, and it was fun. It was fun. I loved it. And the same thing that could be, I really like the Zac Brown Band because these guys can really play their instruments too.
Yeah, and those groups have crossed over into a different space because your ear wants something different.
Right.
I mean, I think Bruno Mars, encapsulates that now in pop music. Because
I love Bruno Mars.
You can hear something in his music that's old and new but nothing like anything else. You're starting to hear people kind of parrot that.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
It falls completely flat because that dude is the originator.
He is. I got to tell you though, with Bruno Mars, he hooked into that '70s funk that people are nostalgic for, that nobody has quite done right since the '70s, and I think that's why that especially Uptown Funk ignited the first time you heard it. Yeah. You're like, oh my God, I love this song.
And it's happy, it's hooky, it's got that earworm thing.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got Michelle Obama dancing to it on stage
exactly.
and like doing choreographed moves with your backup dancers, you're on to something.
Speaking of earworm, I've had this song Despacito stuck in my head.
We talked about just get stuck there, and then it's that the riff and the hook, and then the vocal rapping part in the middle, and yeah, it does. It does. It's in my head right now, people. I can't sing, so you don't want me to sing it. So we do have to take a break, and then we get back. We'll be talking about battery life. I'm Erin Brinker. And I'm Brian Haynes. And we will be right back. Oop, that music's still going on. Oh, Stevie Wonder. Oh. All right, guys, your time for the commercial.
Mark Christopher Auto Center presents the Vehicle Upgrade Event. That's right. It's time for the model year end clearance and 2018 introduction at Mark Christopher Auto Center. That means you can consider more car than you anticipated for the money you want to spend. Chevys, Buicks, and GMC trucks. Some Cadillacs are sign and drive deals. As always, it's California's biggest and best selection, and it's never undersold. You'll find Mark Christopher Auto Center right on the 10 freeway in Ontario, or you can go to markchristopher.com. Mark Christopher is California's #1 volume GM dealer, family owned and doing things right since 1975. Remember, the giant model year-end clearance and vehicle upgrade event is on now at Mark Christopher Auto Center, Vineyard exit of Interstate 10 in Ontario.
KCAA Radio is proud to announce that the Tri-City Center in Redlands is our new home. We're fortunate to be located among some of the best to put happy people in happy homes. Here's what people are saying day after day.
Tammy did way more than we ever expected in a real estate agent. Without Tammy, we would still be renting.
I didn't think we'd ever find a house we loved, but with Tammy's help, we did. Now I get to mow the lawn every weekend. But then again, that's why we had kids. Brandon!
She made so much extra effort to sell our house and make sure that we understood every step of the way. Tammy always had our best interests at heart. I would highly recommend her.
So, if you want your perfect house, you can find Tammy Sutherland at Realty World Premier. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, it's homesbytammy.net or on Facebook at facebook.com/Realtor Tammy Sutherland. You can also reach her by phone at 909-556-2094. That's 909-556-2094.
KCAA.
KCAA, where every day is a great day. Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Brian Hayne.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3, playing some original, incredible bongo band funk.
Oh, let's get there. Now start wiggling in your car seat when you were driving in traffic, then, man, I don't know what, your wiggle must be disconnected from your hips.
Your wiggle must be I like that. That's good. That's good. So there's a new iOS update out.
Yep.
And apparently it's killing your battery.
Yeah, it always does, because it kind of resets some of the things that you might have done to try to police your battery life from before. And then with every update, they want to like highlight features and fetch all your mail and push all your notifications and have all your apps constantly be updated and all of those things that just makes it seem seamless, and also your battery to go to 0 in like an hour.
Right? That's it. Well, and I got to tell you that I get most people do get a lot of spam, or like, I shouldn't say spam. I think, what do they call it? Bacon, where it's not really spam. It's you signed up for lists. And did you almost spit your coffee?
I didn't want to spit take into the microphone. I'm sorry, dear. I'm reading my bacon.
where it's it's stuff it's lists that you signed up for, but it's not stuff that you have to read. So you got an update from The Guardian, or you got an update from DSW Shoes or whatever, and these come up in your mail app like regular mail. And so somebody will look at it and go like, oh my God, you've got 10,000 notifications. Well, no, I don't really have 10,000 notifications. I have a bunch of stuff that I need to go through and delete that I'm never going to read because I don't have time. But when I'm shoe shopping, I want to make sure that I get the coupons. So that's why I'm on the list.
Yeah. And you want to be able to search your email for those things.
Exactly.
But then that becomes like a storm of like 50 emails every month.
Exactly. Businesses, they want to keep you thinking about them. But honestly, I don't need 50 kabillion notifications from Dress Barn.
A quality number there.
Not to pick on Dress Barn. I love Dress Barn. Please continue to send me coupons because I like Dress Barn.
But yeah, there's lots of little easy things that you can do. The article from CNET was like, hey, check your app-to-app battery usage. It's in the settings of your phone, and you can just like see what apps are actually sucking battery life out of your phone. And sometimes that's really surprising. What is actually using all the battery life from your phone might not be something that you have open all the time, but something like something as simple as Gmail, which is constantly trying to fetch your mail over and over again. And that was really eye-opening to me when I read the article. It was saying like, hey, if you're at work and someone needs to reach you, they'll text you or call you, and probably call you on your work phone if they really need to reach you.
Yeah.
So why is your phone fetching email all day long when you're not even going to look at it, until the end of the day anyway? So turn that automatic fetch off, and then when you want to check your email, you can open it up.
You can open up, and then it'll fetch it.
Exactly. So like a little weird things. Lower your screen brightness.
Oh.
Right?
Duh.
Yeah.
Although if you're checking your mail outside, or checking your phone outside, you need it to be bright. But if you're inside, you don't.
Exactly. That was number 2. And then, turn your flashlight down on low. No one needs to be blinded by the brightness of your flashlight. On the phone, they use apps where you can like use it as a flashlight.
People really using their flashlight that much?
I used it this morning when my dog pooped in the dark. And I turned it up.
You're out in one hand and the flashlight in the other?
Hey, I would rather be that guy than the guy that leaves my dog's poop on someone else's lawn. Simple stuff. I know Apple pushed out low power mode several updates ago, and then when your phone is at 20%, like actually use the low power mode.
I actually want to be, and they don't really want you to do this. I want to put my phone on low power mode all of the time.
But you know what that does is it stops fetching the mail, which we just talked about. It stops the automatic downloads, which you can also manage in your settings. It stops the visual effects, like all that cool stuff where you tilt your phone and the background picture kind of slides around like it's slightly below all of your... Do you really need that?
No, not really, no.
And it sucks battery life. And so it turns all of those things off. So in a way, by like cutting all of those things out of your options, you're really just policing the battery life on your own. You're putting it into low power mode without it being in low power mode. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what the article is talking about. That and the whole Hey Siri thing. Hopefully my phone didn't just go off.
Oh, I don't use Siri because most of the time she misunderstands me anyway.
I will say I use it all the time. When I'm stuck in traffic on the way home, my wife will text me. And then obviously I'm not going to read it. So I say, and my phone is hooked up to my car listening to Spotify or a podcast, and I'll Hey Siri read my last text message from my wife. And she'll read them all. Would you like to respond? And I will respond paragraphs. I've gotten pretty good. You have to enunciate and speak very clearly sometimes. And when you say period, she puts the punctuation mark.
I think I have fairly good diction, though.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying. You absolutely do. And I've talked about this before. If you've never seen the video on YouTube of the two Scots in the elevator, voice-activated elevator, it is absolutely riotous. These poor guys get stuck in this elevator because they cannot understand them.
To the fourth floor.
I was trying to go to 11.
Hey, 11. 11.
It's hysterical.
I've got to watch it now. I've got to look it up as soon as we get off the air. I love me a good Scottish accent.
So, I ended up actually, so I have some email accounts that I only use for when I sign up for something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't check those on my phone at all anymore.
Yeah.
So I wait till I'm on my computer. I've just stopped checking them because it was just filling it up, checking all the time, and then all this stuff would download, and it was just a big fat pain in the neck. For me, I don't, I have a virtual office, right? I have a co-working space that I'm in Minden Mill. I'm in a virtual office, and so email, I do read it on my phone. I don't necessarily, often I'm in my car, so I do read it on my phone. I need to be able to check my work email on my phone.
Yeah.
But the other email I don't. So I keep that separate.
And my brother-in-law is really big on this too. And in the article, it's number 10, is see what apps are tracking your location, and weird stuff does.
Really?
Like I had the Target Cartwheel app because sometimes you can scan the barcode and sometimes you get an instant coupon. And hey, yay, savings. It tracks your location.
Oh.
In the store.
Oh.
And it will say like, hey, there's a special in menswear. And I'm like, why do you know?
Picturing a creepy guy with a clipboard writing down everything you're looking at.
He's next to men's underwear. Special on boxer brief.
Oh, God.
He's headed to homeware. Tell him about the Tupperware. Yeah, but stuff like that, like weird apps will track your location. Why is a Target tracking my location? I don't need you to know that I'm at work. Turn it off. Like why does the Boston Red Sox app need to know that I'm in California? I'm nowhere near the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, that's true. You have a Boston Red Sox app?
It's on the screen that I'm looking at in the article. No, I'm a Dodger fan. Please don't come at me, California. All fans are, though.
So with that, we're at the end of our show for today. Always a treat to have you on the show with us, Brian. And I say us, me and the mouse in my pocket. I am Erin Brinker.
And I'm Brian Hain. Thank you so much.
And we are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. Have a great day, everybody.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
I'm Chuck Hamlick, CNBC. Stock futures are lower today. The economy grew more than 3% in the spring, the best showing in 2 years.